Thank you all so much for tuning in to this very special episode of Connect. I've got Tonya Lanthier sitting right beside me, and it's such an honor.
Thank you for having me.
We are about to learn so much about this amazing female entrepreneur who started as a registered dental hygienist.
Yes.
And now has a business with revenues exceeding, are you allowed to disclose that?
Almost 5 million.
Almost 5 million a year. So you have no investors.
No investors.
You started this from the ground up and employ how many people?
I have 3 employees, and then I have some contractors that work with me, about 7 contractors.
And DentalPost.net
Yes.
is a site that helps dental offices find the right people for the right time, right away.
Yes, using data.
Using data.
Yeah.
And how many people are on the platform?
We have about 850,000 people using the platform, and then we have 60,000 dental offices hiring from the platform.
That scale is amazing. And you're a mom.
Yes, of twin girls, yes.
And so you're able to do what so many women hope to do, which is raise a family and have a successful career. And so whether you're a mom or not, and you're just a female looking to take the next step in your career, let's dig into how you got the idea for this and what it was like for you in the beginning.
Well, I practiced hygiene for a while once I got out of dental hygiene school, and I wanted to start a family, and I started having issues. I had infertility issues, and so with that struggle, I needed more flexibility in my schedule as a hygienist.
Right.
So I started temping in offices because I wanted to be able to take care of the doctor and the patients, so that I had the flexibility. So I ended up temping in over 100 offices, and when I did that, I started to see the offices that were great, and the leaders showed up, and people that were happy there. And then I go into offices where it wasn't so good, and people weren't happy, and I started moving people around. I'd say, you know what, you'd fit in that office, or you'd fit in that office, and your core values match that person, or your personality would fit in with this group. And I saw that. I was like a bird's eye view of where, going from office to office, where people are practicing in a box, they can't see that.
So you identified holes, essentially, and plug and play, and without even realizing it, stumbled upon this amazing business opportunity that nobody else was taking advantage of.
Yes.
At what point did the light bulb come on where you were like, this needs to be a business and my business?
It was, I've always wanted to help people. I'm a hygienist. I make people feel better about themselves, their health.
Yeah.
And when I saw people not happy in these offices, I knew I could help them move to the right place. And so I kept this little black book in the back of my calendar, and had pages of people's names and their numbers, and I just moved people around. And then I formed a group of women that we were temp hygienists, and I had a trust circle where we'd give each other's jobs, but you had first dibs on, because it was your doctors. And so we respected each other in that way, and that's how it started. And I basically threw up a website, and I was married at the time, and had my husband was a software engineer and worked for EasyGov at the time. And I said, can you do this and make it do this and this and this? And he's like, yeah, I can do that in my sleep. So I kind of
love it when people say that.
I know. So I drew up what I wanted, and then he produced it, and then I did all the marketing. I went from office to office, and I handed out flyers. And then the guys here in Atlanta, the dentists that run the Hinman dental convention, they were like, we like this. Why don't you have a booth at the dental convention? And I'm like, well, I don't have enough money to have a booth. And they're like, well, we want you to give out flyers. And so I did, and it grew from there. And then I went from city to city to city from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, a lot of times when we're talking with exceptional leaders here, they make it sound so easy and effortless, but I know that this took a lot of time.
It did. And I'd hire people to come in and help do letters. I would buy the list of hygienists or dentists, and I would send a letter saying, "Hey, my name's Tonya Lanthier. I started a website for us. Like you, I know the struggles, and here it is. Give me feedback." And so people would write me and give me feedback, and I just improved it from hearing people. And then we did surveys out, and I'd say, "Okay, how can I improve this better to make it usable for you and the doctors?" And they would just flood me with just answers of what I needed to hear to make it better.
So that's a key differentiation point that you utilize throughout these different touch points of speaking to people in a way that respects them and engages them in dialogue.
Yeah.
And then really, really soliciting feedback, not just, scale of 1 to 5, how are we doing? It's you really care and you really want to know. And that's all people want to do is tell you what they think and what they feel.
Yeah. And I took into their consideration of what they had to say,
Right.
and I would validate them. I would say, "I can do this. It may take me a month to get it done, but give me a month and I'll have it up for you."
Wow.
So, or I'll say, "We've tried that didn't work." It was a research and development project, pretty much. You'd take something and research it, or people would tell you things, and then you would try it, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. And I was so small, I could make things happen.
Yes, that's key too.
Yeah.
Being able to move quickly and iterate. I mean, you say this might take me a month.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, they're like, it's gonna be like 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's actually a blessing.
Yeah.
How did you gain knowledge and insight and community? Because now you are a leader, CEO of this tech company that touches tens of thousands of people. How do you stay ahead?
I think being in the business, just and going to all those offices with the experience and listening to what people wanted, and then going outside of my industry to learn. I joined EO. That gave me a chance to go to London Business School for a week.
Wow.
It gave me a chance to go to MIT for 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to educate myself. I knew I didn't know. I knew I didn't know about things. So that organization was great because I had patients would come in, and I was talking to my patients about the things that I needed, and they would like, "You need to join EO." And I'm like, "What is EO?" And I heard it like over and over and over. And after that, I was like, okay, I got to go figure out what EO is. And so I met this guy for coffee, and he was actually a tech guy, programmer, and he still didn't give me much information. So I actually leaped in with just a leap of faith, and it's been the best thing I ever did to open the resources for me to understand how to grow my business as well. And then I went to Inc. I went to the Women's Summit. That opened my eyes a lot. I met a lot of people there, and that's what kind of gave me a direction. I heard somebody talk about they had a mascot for their company, and I heard them talk about how it helped grow their company, and I heard them how they, I saw, what's his name, Malonis. What's his name? He's on TV. He does the Prophet.
Okay.
Prophet guy. And I heard him talk about how to grow businesses, and I just learned from hearing all the information, and I took the best practices and took it back to my business.
Oh my gosh. So for those of you watching and listening right now, I want you to take away some key facts, including to be a successful entrepreneur like Tonya, you're always listening.
Yeah.
You're always learning.
Yes.
You never know everything. Once you get to the point where you're like, I'm good, I know everything, that's when you should be worried.
Yeah.
And there are failures, but they're not the end of the world. It's more just an opportunity to learn and pivot.
Yeah.
What would you say was one of your biggest moments of, ooh, that's not working, we need to pivot?
Well, we grew fast, and we didn't think that it would grow that fast.
Good problem to have.
So we had to rewrite the platform, and there was some wording that I used in my profession. Hygienists are, we perform prophylactics,
Oh.
to clean people's teeth.
Right.
And so I used clean your resume up, and people came after me for that.
Right.
And I had to learn the wording I had to use,
Mm-hmm.
and some things through marketing that I couldn't do. And those are the things that
We've all been there.
Yeah, it's just like little things that people peck at you about.
Little things.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
things, but keeping the big picture in mind.
Yeah.
What's next? What, now that you
Yeah.
have this amazing
Yeah.
business, no investors, it's thriving, it's growing. You have over 15 years now
Yeah.
invested in this. What's next?
I want to build an ecosystem. I'm actually building it. I've built DentalPost EDU, so for education, and I'm building a team management piece, which is an HR suite, because in dentistry, there's nobody out there that provides anything for the team, really. There's a company that puts learning and like EO does around the entrepreneur in dentistry for the dentist, but there's nobody that does it for the whole team, and that's what I want to do. That's the road I'm going down. And I think there's a lot of data opportunities as well. I have tons of data, and if I can share that with, and I'm not saying personal data, but I'm saying data as a whole. If I can show what the organizations or what groups of people do, I think that can help a lot of people in that aspect.
So obviously success stories are so much fun, right? To learn about as business owners and entrepreneurs, people in the tech industry. We would love to hear how people did it and the inside scoop behind it. But there's also a personal side to it, of what it means to you, the why. Why are you doing this? And I would like to hear about how this has impacted you personally.
Yeah. When I was a little girl, when I was 8 years old, I knocked my tooth out in a bicycle wreck.
Wow.
And that really impacted my life because, and I always say I went head first into dentistry. And
Literally.
And when I ended up at the hospital, and they went back to the site, brought the tooth to the hospital and put it back in. And over time, I ended up losing all 4 teeth in the front, and I have implants. So going through that journey and the trauma, not having losing your smile as a child.
Oh gosh.
It's been hard for me to smile, and I've had to teach myself to smile because I had so much trauma through as a child. But the why was because the team was so good to me, and they made me feel so good. And I get emotional when I talk about that.
I'm getting emotional.
That they gave to me, their time and their love. And sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No.
That I decided I wanted to do that as well.
Wow. Yeah. People don't realize
Sorry.
Your smile is everything.
Yeah.
It is so innate to you and how you express joy and connect with someone.
Yeah.
And the moment that is taken away from you.
It is very emotional. And with my company, I raise money now for Give Back a Smile, which is for battered women and battered men where they've been beat and lost their smile. And we do that every year and give back.
Tonya, how can we support that? I mean, I'm covered in goosebumps, and we have the potential to reach hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
How can we support that?
The AACD is the American Academy for Cosmetic Dentistry, and they sponsor it. And I just chose instead of creating my own like a lot of people do, I picked that one to put energy into.
Oh my gosh, the AACD. So we can
it's on their website. Yeah,
we can support them and give back to people.
Yes.
Because it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
It is not cheap.
There's a lot of doctors out there that give their time and energy, and then they sponsor a patient, and they have to really vet the patients because when they're beat, they don't feel like they're worthy of it, and they won't show up sometimes because they don't feel like they're worthy. So we really vet and coach the women and the men that come in and get their smiles fixed.
Wow. So it's time, and it's literally thousands of dollars just to replace one tooth. And so there's so many people out there where that level of commitment for a variety of teeth is just more than they can fathom spending on themselves, and especially if they don't feel like they're worth it, they just stop smiling, which is unacceptable. So Tonya, thank you so much for all that you do to give back to your community, to those people who are not in a position to be able to do something about it. Yeah. You're changing lives, and you've changed your life. I mean, rewind 15 years ago, did you have any idea what you'd be looking at right now?
No. So that was just doing it out of the kindness of my heart. And then London Business School even took when I went there, the professor liked my story so much. He's teaching to entrepreneurs how you can actually make money and have purpose behind both your missions.
Yes.
And companies do better sometimes when you have both there.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Tonya, the reason that you're here today with your powerful story is not just to talk about how amazing it is and how successful you've been, but it's to impart to those watching, especially women, that you can do it. You absolutely can do it. What do you have to say to them? How is it possible? What steps do you take? You have a blog, right, where you outline your journey, but we really want to get across to these women watching that you absolutely can do it.
You know, at first I was, I think you have to be passionate about what you're doing or the fire won't be there.
Right, so it takes passion.
Passion along with that, and I think that, and then you've got to kick out the crazy roommate in your head because, you know, you've got you may have several crazy roommates in your head, some women do, but you got to get rid of that negative talk and say, I can. And always be, I can do this.
I can do this.
I'd get up every morning and say it in the mirror. So,
I can do this.
I can do this.
So many people struggle with imposter syndrome, and it's the negative self-talk, and it's the, man, if people really find out who I am and where I'm from and what I don't know, they're going to kick me out of here. I'm a sham. And that is so pervasive, and especially the more and more successful you become, the more and more is at stake, and you sometimes wonder, how can I keep going, and what if I fail, and what if I make a big mistake? And it really comes down to the heart of the matter of waking up every morning and saying, I can do this. Yeah. And that's what you did.
Yeah, I was raised by my grandmother. She lived beside me, and she was a very big stone in my life, and they always told me to be honest, and I was always vulnerable with how I felt, and I think when people have imposter syndrome, that they've got a facade up, or and I caught myself doing that, when we go through our teenage years, and I really tried to be vulnerable and honest with people just as raw as I can, and I've really taught my girls to do that as well. I tell them I'm not perfect. I tell them that I'm not the perfect mother, that I try hard and I love them, and that that you can do anything you want. And my grandmother used to say, you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything. So
that's key.
Yeah, and so that's how I've done things.
So how have you been able to manage all of these things? And you're a single mom?
Yes.
So that's another layer of complexity.
Yes. I have a village around me. Like everybody says, you got to have a village around you. But I've got support. I've hired in support. I've hired where I don't want to do the laundry because I'd rather spend that time with my children. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've kind of done along the way. It took me a while to surrender and give that up. I think women, we think we can do everything, and we can't do everything and be good at, it falls. Yeah, you end up you falter in some areas. But my children were my main in the middle of, and to make sure everything was good for them, and I wanted to grow a career. And I think when you have to balance that out, or try to balance it out, you've got to pull in resources. So
you were intentional about
Yes.
two main areas of focus: your children and your business.
Yes.
And everything else outside of that, took a back seat or
and
outsourced.
Yes, I did. I had to learn to take time for myself as well because
Oh,
I
right.
would throw in.
Oh, there's that. What about you?
Yeah. So I would. I had to learn to do that because things started breaking down.
Yes.
So when that happened, you had to step back and go, okay, get a lot, some time here, and some time here.
Well, it's the oxygen mask analogy,
Yes, it
right?
is.
You can't
Yes.
help anybody else if you're not breathing
Yes.
air.
Yeah.
So you've got to put the mask on first, and then you can help everybody else. So
Yeah.
that's a key component that we didn't even touch on really until this very moment,
Yeah.
because we don't think of ourselves very often.
Yeah. Because if you don't manage your stress will manage you.
That's right.
Definitely.
That's right. I am inspired. You are an inspiration, and I am so excited for what your future holds. And because of that, so many people are going to want to continue to follow your journey and connect with you. So how can they do that? Where do they go?
You can find me on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Great. We'll be
So-
doing that.
Okay.
And most importantly, you go to dentalpost.net.
DentalPost.net is my website.
That's your website.
Yes.
From there, you can connect with Tonya in all the ways and keep up with her blog,
Yeah.
which is key to getting to know you and your journey.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Tonya, thank you. Thank you for all that you've done and for all that you will continue to do.